Hi there, my name is Paul. I'm the host of OpenClaw Skills Review. Welcome to the first episode of this new YouTube channel. I decided to host this channel because mainly nobody else was doing it. I think one of the things that makes OpenClaw unique and powerful is this huge skill repository at Clawhub. However, early in OpenClaw's existence, they ran into some security issues. I think got a bit of a bad reputation, and Clawhub, I think was part of that. And so, in my own, desire to use some of the skills on it, you think, geez, can I trust these things? And I thought, well, we have a lot of tools these days to be able to audit them. Why don't I audit them? And I thought maybe other people could benefit from it. So I decided to start this channel. So here we are, episode 1. Am I the right person to host it? I'm sure there's somebody way more qualified. I decided to pick a relatively easy skill to review for the very first episode. I'll kind of learn as I go, and I'm sure I'll get better at it as we move ahead. And I'm sure people will leave comments in the comment section that will help me get better. So I think we can learn together and maybe create a bit of a community to help us know which skills we can actually download safely. But basically, I'm going to pick a skill on Clawhub. I'm going to review it. I'm going to look at the Clawhub page and poke around and look at the information that's available there. We'll take a look at the markdown files. One of the benefits of AI and the way AI works is that the markdown files are in regular language. Some of the more advanced skills have, they'll have programs that are written in Python or whatever other languages that form part of the code, which will be a little harder to audit, but I'm sure I'll figure out how to do that as we move forward. Part of my plan is to run the code from each of these through Claude Codex, through Claude Code and through Codex, do a security review that way. And there's also some online websites that help scan these files. So I figure let's give it a shot and see if this is worthwhile doing. All right, so let's take a look. First, the person who created the software, his name is Maxime Prades, out of San Francisco, used to be the director of product management at Facebook. If you look at his LinkedIn, more recently, he looks like he's at Cursor. Saw a picture of him on X, that's what he looks like. If you go to the Claude Hub page and we search for the skill, so I'll go here and I'll type in auto updater skill. So you'll see that a couple come up. There's actually 2 that match that name almost perfectly. One has auto-updater-skill, and it's by AAHUAXU. The other one is by auto updater space skill, and that's by Maxime Prades. So this is the one that we want. You can see this one has 2,300 downloads. This one has 97,900. And they call this name squatting. It's when someone tries to, copies a skill that's really popular, and then they try to come up with something similar, but you have to worry then, is it actually good code? They're just trying to leverage off the popularity of something else, or is there, are they a malicious actor? So let's take a look at Maxime's page. Auto updater skill, it will automatically update ClaudeBot. That was the name of OpenClaw before becoming OpenClaw. And installed skills once daily. It runs via cron, so it creates a cron job, and it checks for updates, applies them, and then sends a message to the user with a summary of what changed. You can see over its lifetime, 97,900 downloads. Look, they've happened pretty steadily, pretty popular. The internal security audit performed by Clawhub.ai gave it sort of the 2 yellow bars, not 3. And if you scroll down here, you can sort of see it describes what it does, a bit of information, and you can actually get a preview of the code here. If you go down to skill card, you see a bit more about it, overview, who the publisher is, what version number is, and talks about sort of risk and mitigation for each of these. So The really helpful piece though is when you go to files, and here you can see there's the skill.md file, includes the skill card and the agent guide MD and some examples. So if you go to this file, we can actually download that. When you download it, it looks like this. So I'm going to take you through this code. Basically at the top, you just have a general description of what this does. Automatically updates ClaudeBot for all installed skills. So all the skills that you have already installed, this just goes and forces an update for all of them every day. It runs via cron, checks for updates, applies them, and then messages the user with a summary of what changed. A bit repetitive here. And here under Quick Start, it'll say ask ClaudeBot to set up the auto updater. And that's what this section does. Here you can see it says ClaudeBot, it wants to create a cron job. Daily up, it's going to call it the daily auto update. It's going to update, this is at 4:00 a.m. It's going to be PST or California time. It's in an isolated session, so it basically creates a new session, so it has its full context window. It'll wake the device up to make sure so that it runs the cron job and updates. And then the delivery is where it'll actually send you the summary to your preferred channel. So if you're on Telegram, it'll send it to Telegram. And then it gives a sample of what the message looks like. Run daily auto update, looked for updates and updated all skills, and then it'll report what's changed. So if you look at the configuration options again, it gives you the time zone. And here, the first thing it does is it actually updates OpenClaw. It said ClaudeBot here, the old name, but it updates OpenClaw to the current version, the newest version. The next thing that it does, so it does the ClaudeBot update. It runs a ClaudeBot doctor to make sure that the update was clean and there was no issues. And then it goes to update the skills. And this Claude Hub update -- all, that's kind of the secret sauce. That's really the essence of this entire skill. That's what does the update of all the skills that you currently have installed in your instance of OpenClaw. And then the update summary, this sort of gives you a sample of what the summary and what it's going to create. And it gives you a list of some of the possible manual commands you can type in. So Claude Hot update all dry run. The dry run, I think, gives you, will tell you essentially what would change without actually doing the update, which is probably the better way to do this. When I read this skill, the concern that it gives me is that essentially you're blindly updating. And, somebody could have created a perfectly good skill, put it out there, it was really popular, got a lot of users, and then they do an update, they put malicious code in it, and everyone updates to the newest version, they don't really check it, and then now they're able to infect your computer. So that's, I think, this overall skill, my takeaway from it is it's quite simple, not risky in and of itself, because there's no malicious code in and of itself, but the actual logic that it does an update without a review strikes me as maybe not the best way to go. So the next thing we're going to do is I actually took that file and I dropped it into ChatGPT, and when I hit enter, interestingly, it sort of validated my kind of number one concern, no clearly nefarious code, just talked about a lot of documentation, nothing that's going to cause credential theft or data exfiltration, no real problems in here. It says, however, I would not install it unchanged. And really it talks about the fact that, again, no evidence this particular file is malicious, but its unattended auto update design is high risk. So that's kind of the concern that that ChatGPT had with the app or skill. And if you look at Claude Code, there's no hidden malware in the file. It's just plain markdown, not executable code. The commands it contains point to anything sketchy. And it does say, again, the real issue isn't malice, it's design pattern. That's a textbook supply chain exposure. If Clawhub itself or any one skill maintainer's account gets compromised, this cron job will pull the poison update and execute it automatically at 4 a.m. without anybody reviewing it. So that's, I think, the finding from our using our AIs to review the skill. The other things that I looked at, there's a website called Skill Check, and here you can upload and scan. In this case, when I tried to load this one, it actually failed, so it didn't work in this particular case. However, there's another one called Skill Check by, it's called Clawhub.ai. So here, if you upload a zip file, so I grabbed the skill.md file that we downloaded, I zipped it, I dropped it in here, and when I ran it, this one came back with a rating of 95 out of 100. The only thing it found, the only one finding under medium, was the fact that it didn't, it was missing the config.json file. So I'm not sure how big a deal that was, but basically this didn't find anything concerning. It gave a very high score. It didn't identify the thing that we realized and that ChatGPT and Codex also both found. But I think these two websites I'll continue to kind of use through the course of this channel and see how helpful they are. In terms of the last sort of thing I want to do on a regular basis with this channel is to then actually install software. I do have an instance of PrimeClaws. I did have open, but I seem to have misplaced. If I log into PrimeClaws, and I go to my dashboard, so I have a version of OpenClaw here. If I go to skills and then I search Clawhub for it and I say auto updater skill, you'll see that it finds it, and it has the Claude one here, and then it has the one that was trying to copy it. It actually errors out for some reason. So it works on Clawhub, but the VPS version, PrimeClaws is a VPS. For whatever reason, this skill doesn't work. It might be because it says ClaudeBot instead of OpenClaw. So maybe that's why the skill is not working, but it wouldn't actually install. So I'm going to pass on the installation for now. In terms of the last step in this process, it's really determining would I recommend installing this skill or not. In this case, I think the skill itself is not problematic, but just the fact that it updates everything unattended, I think makes it problematic. So I would recommend that you not install this skill. So sorry, Maxime, appreciate the work you did, but we're going to pass on this one. But that's it for the first episode. That's basically the process I'm going to go through as I do more and more complex skills and review them. I'm sure that I'll get better at it, and I'm sure again I'll rely on some of the comments from people in the comment section. But appreciate your time. If you enjoyed the channel, subscribe, tell your friends, and we'll see you in the next one.